You like my new shirt? I got it for Christmas. You like it? You like it? You like it? For all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer, and welcome back to Haunt-Informer. If you haven't seen the show before, this is the show where I talk about Halloween news, horror news, and they're coming to get you, Barbara. Today, I have a lot of news that is optimistic, but I have a few announcements in terms of one particular one I'll get out of the way very early on that I'm not looking forward to. But we gotta do it. We gotta do it. This is the start of the year. This is January. This is when the ball starts rolling for the upcoming year and season. So with that being said, let's jump into the scary news. Up first, this is the one I wanted to talk about mostly. The Exorcist is getting an apparent reboot. Perhaps by none other than the notorious Blumhouse of all studios. So, despite, I'm sure, some people being excited about the movie because it is The Exorcist back on the big screen, which is cool. We did see The Exorcist on the small screen a few years ago, if you remember the television show of the same name. I am not looking forward to The Exorcist remake or reboot, whatever it's going to be. I don't think The Exorcist needs an update. I think The Exorcist is a perfect film. I don't think there's any way that you could improve it. The effects were great, the performances, it's my favorite movie, pretty much, of all time, so there's really nothing that needs to be added to it. And I have a feeling, because of what modern audiences are looking for, there's going to be a lot of jump scares in it. It's going to be kind of like The Conjuring, which is not a bad series, but it is not the tone of The Exorcist at all, and I do not want to see an Exorcist remake. Will I watch it? Probably, because I love The Exorcist. But yeah, that's the first news. I'm getting that one out of the way, but I wanted to talk about it because it's important, especially to me. Let's keep going. So this might be a bit of old news. I don't know if you can make that out. I'll put a picture on the screen, but Nike has released Freddy Krueger themed shoes. There's actually a whole bunch of horror themed shoes out there. There's an Onslaught you can find online if you just do a quick Google search. But I've been looking into these shoes. I'm not a shoe person. I know you exist out there. Hi. But, you know, I'm not one to spend a lot of money on my shoes. I have, like, really simple shoes I got at a store near me. But the horror touches made to these shoes, especially those Nikes, because Nike always does a fantastic job, is sweet. And sometimes I'm inclined to go over the edge and spend my money. My defense for why I'm not a shoe person is because your shoes are always touching the ground and the dirt, and why spend money on that? But I understand that shoes are kind of a fashion statement now, and to have Freddy Krueger themed shoes, I can't say wouldn't be dope to see in public, so I don't know. Are you a shoe person? Would you consider getting these? Let me know. I'm curious. This is kind of a weird blend of things that I never expected to see mixed, if you will. But Stephen King, you know, the novelist, and Jason Voorhees may come together. I don't know if the arrangements will ever work out. I know the Friday the 13th rights have kind of been in limbo. But apparently Stephen King would love to make a novel based off of Jason Voorhees, actually from his perspective and why he does, you know, what he does. I actually think that's a pretty cool idea. I feel like King's attention to detail and really jumping into the character would actually give Jason more depth, other than being just a slasher goon from the 80s and 90s. I don't know. I'm not much of one to read novels. I just don't, you know, usually have the attention span to last that long. And especially with the books I've seen Stephen King come out with. But that doesn't dismiss the fact that I think it would be a really cool idea, and if they made a movie based off of it, I feel like a Stephen King Jason story would be hard to resist. If you're a movie fan, you might be familiar with the name of M. Night Shyamalan. kind of the guy notorious for his twist endings and weird, bizarre plots. He is coming out with a new movie that apparently will drop this year called Old. It is based off of a graphic novel called Sandcastle, and both the graphic novel, the comic, and the movie have some kind of references to time, age, and the sands of an hourglass. I don't really know what the graphic novel is about, and while I was inclined to do research for it, I kind of want to be left in the dark, because Shyamalan always has some good twists that I usually don't see coming, and I don't want to ruin the Sandcastle Old movie for myself. But if you are familiar, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this collaboration? I think it sounds pretty cool. M. Night has dealt with comics in the past, so to see him take on that medium in a film format yet again is exciting. I don't know if I've ever talked about The Toxic Avenger before on my channel. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's trauma. It's very ridiculous. It's kind of trash cinema, which is something I'm actually a fan of. These movies that are over the top and ridiculous, but nonetheless fun. Toxie has been a staple of that genre for quite some time and kind of the face of trauma for many, many years. And apparently is getting a fresh update, a remake, reboot, kind of like The Exorcist that I talked about earlier. Apparently Peter Dinklage is set to star as the titular Toxic Avenger, which is very interesting. If you've seen the original one, you know it's about a meek janitor that gets these superpowers and, you know, kind of saves the day, which could be a nice comparison to Peter Dinklage being a small guy, and maybe this movie's going to give him this huge body. I don't know what to expect, honestly. Maybe he's just going to stay Peter Dink the whole time. I don't really know. Obviously, we're all kind of in the dark at this point, and I don't know how official this reboot is supposed to be, but apparently they're at least trying to get a thing worked out for it. Unlike The Exorcist, I feel like The Toxic Avenger is a more long-lasting property that could have reboots and re-adaptations. There are things that you could explore in a new movie, and I would be excited to see how both Peter Dinklage and the creators of this new movie would adapt the character to the 2021 and beyond diverse. Let's talk about video games for a second. I have two video game themed announcements. The first is, while I haven't pre-ordered a PS5 and nor do I plan to get attacked for trying to find one, I don't have to because I have an Xbox. But there is one thing that's pulling at my heartstrings to get me to purchase one, and that is the Evil Dead video game, where you can play not only as Ash from the Evil Dead, but also Pablo from the Ash vs. Evil Dead series. Looks like a really fun game. You get to kick butt, play as Ash, be in the cabin in the woods. I mean, really, what more could you ask for? If Evil Dead isn't your thing, may I suggest Dead by Daylight, a game that I've been recently playing. And I gotta say, the new killer in the game, the twins, that came out right before Christmas time, reminds me a lot of an old horror movie called Basket Case. Many fans were quick to point out that the new killers are very similar to the brothers from Basket Case. But what I like about the new killer is that there is a small, miniature killer, which means that could open the door to future killers in the game, such as Chucky and Puppet Master, maybe even Leprechaun if we're so inclined. I don't know, but it's really cool to think about, and I really hope we'll see the expansion of the game and the roster of killers soon. Every movie's got to have a sequel nowadays, am I right? Am I right? Sequels seem to plague us all the time, but not all of them sound terrible. For example, the possibility of Killer Klowns from Outer Space Dose, which would be epic, and Kyoto Brothers, please take this into consideration. Apparently, after the Alien Christmas movie that dropped on Netflix right before Christmas time, a movie I recommend highly, which is a Kyoto Brother production, who also made the Killer Klowns movie, Netflix was in talks to actually go ahead and produce the Killer Klowns sequel, which I think is a fantastic idea. The sequel has been in limbo ever since the original came out. Fans have always wanted it, and the Kyotos have always teased it, but we've never actually officially had Killer Klowns 2. They even teased a sequel, a 3D sequel, even a TV show at one point, and we never got it. So I really hope, if anyone, Netflix, Kyotos, please, can there be something there? On a more solid note, like with actual emphasis to it, Disney Plus, at their recent Disney meeting of producers, have confirmed that we are going to in fact get Hocus Pocus 2. Hocus Pocus is a movie that, believe it or not, I have never seen before. Just doesn't seem like my thing, but I am going to watch it in preparation for this sequel that will be on Disney Plus. Who knows when, really? Maybe October, maybe next October. It's a bit up in the air, but it is on its way. That is very exciting and very cool. To wrap up this episode, I want to talk briefly about a project that Bruce Campbell has discussed. I've seen him talk about it online, and it is something that has my attention and my curiosity, and that is basically the Expendables of horror. If you've ever seen or know about the Expendables movies, they're a mashup of all of the famous tough guys from action movie history. You got like Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all those other guys. Well, apparently Bruce Campbell, who played Ash, wants to do the same thing but in a horror context, bringing in Kane Hodder and Robert Englund and other famous horror stars, which sounds perfect. I would be down to see it. It's something new and different and fresh, and it sounds fun as heck. I'm on board. But let me know what you think down there. Thank you guys very much for watching Haunt Informer. If you have something that you want me to talk about on the show, please drop a comment or send me an email. My email is in the description. More videos are to come. Like I said, trying to post a video every week on Thursdays. We'll see how far that goes. And we have the Halloween and Party Expo, or HauntCon, whatever tickles your pickle, coming out next week. So expect videos on that. Thank you for watching. Remember, for all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer.